Now we're going to look at some mental strategies for doing addition. So essentially doing addition in your head. Now remember, if we're going to be doing it in our head, it's going to look weird when we try to write this on paper. But try to follow along and try to do some of this addition in your head if you can. So one strategy is called adding from the left. It's like using partial sums. So we're going to start on the left and we're going to add these numbers together. So that's a 30 plus a 40, which gives you 70. And then 2 plus 5 is 7. And those you can hopefully add pretty easily in your head and call it 77. I think what people try to do in their head when they do math is start with the ones and then carry the 1, and then that becomes really hard to keep track of when you're just thinking about it. So actually starting from the left is easier to do mentally, because you go, that's 77, right? So let's see if we can do it with this next one. So this would be 600. 60 and 20 makes 80, and then the 7 and the 4 makes 11. So you end up with 691. But if I was doing this in my head, I would go 680 and 11. And 80 plus 11 is 91. So that's how you would do it in your head. But you actually start on the left and go to the right. Mentally, that's easier to do. When we write on paper, we usually do it from right to left. But we're doing mental stuff here. All right, the next one's called breaking up and bridging. This is something my brain did, and I never knew there was a name for it. So 47 plus 36, what my brain does is it breaks up the 36 into 30 and 6. And then it goes, okay, what's 47 and 30? It's like you get the bulk of it out of the way. 47 and 30 is 77. And then you just tack on the 6. And that gives you your 83 as your answer. So I would do 47 and 30 is 77 plus 6 more. And for the 6 more, you can count on with your fingers or like whatever you need to do, but you get up to 83. For 82 plus 45, I would break up the 45. So I would write it as 40 plus 5, right? That's what 45 is. And then I would say, okay, what's 82 plus 40? Well, that's going to be 82 plus 40. You'd have to like carry the 1, right? So you're going to get, plus 5. Sorry, I could put that at the end, plus the 5. 82 plus 40 is going to be 122 plus the 5 more, which would be 127. So 82 and 40, that's like 8 and 4 is 12. Then you've got the 2 at the end, so 122 plus 5 more. That's what it's called. If you never knew that it had a name, if your brain does it too, that's what it's called. Okay, then there's this one called trading off. And what trading off says is if you add an amount to one number, you subtract the same amount from the other number. So we're going to add amount to one number, and then you subtract the same amount from the second number. So it's called trading off because we're going to add one and then we're going to take it away. So essentially what we're adding in there is 0. It's just a sneaky way to do this. You're like, man, I don't want to work with an 89 and a 42. Like those seem hard. Well, what if one of the numbers ended in 0? That'd be nice. So if I just add 1 to 89, I get 90. But I added 1. So now I got to fix it by taking away 1. So you take it away from the other number. So 89 plus 1 is 90. 42, you go down 1. There's your net value of 0 is 41. And then those you can just add like that. 131. That's what you get. 131. It's a nice little strategy if the numbers are weird and you don't want to have to mess with carrying and stuff. So 124 plus 63. All those numbers seem messy. I wonder if that was like a 120 or if that was a 130. This might be easier. So I'm going to add 6. And I'm going to make it 130. But if I add 6, I have to take away 6. And 63, if you take away 6, you get 57. And then you can just add those. Get a 7, 8, and a 1. 187. So if you didn't know you could do that, you can do that. If you add to 1, you just got to take it away from the other. Nice little trick. And then there's something called using compatible numbers. So compatible means they add up to like 10 or 100 or some nice number. So if I was going to add all of these numbers together, I try to find some that are compatible. So I notice I have a 130 and then I have a 70. Well, 7s and 3s are compatible. So if you're at 130 and you add 70, you get 200. So you've got 200 here. And then if I add up 50 and 50, see those are also quite compatible, 50 and 50, those make 100. So then that gives me 100 here, if I add those two. So I have a 200 and I have a 100, and then I have a 20. So that's going to be 320. But do you see how you could do that in your head? You're like, oh, it's 200 and another 100, that's 320. You don't even really need to write anything down. So that's using compatible numbers. You got to get pretty lucky to get compatible numbers though. So then sometimes what you can do is you can make compatible numbers. If they don't give them to you, just make them. So this is very similar to something you've already seen. We're going to do 25 plus 78. Well, I know that 25 and 75 are compatible. So I'm going to break apart the 78 into a compatible number. So 75 plus 3. And the reason I do that is because 25 and 75 are compatible. They make 100. And then I just have the little 3 left at the end. So 103. Makes it nice to add. So 25 and 75 plus 3 more. Let's try that with this one. So 160 and 42. Well, 60 is compatible with 40. So I'm going to call this 40 plus 2. Because I know that these are compatible. 160 and 40, that makes 200. And then I just have to add 2. 202. Again, please remember these are supposed to be mental strategies and ways you can add these in your head. So 160 plus 40, that's 200 plus 2 more, 202. So those are some mental strategies for adding.